morning, everybody. John from our Hodgepodge Homestead. Number one, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to Canuary. Today, here at the Hodgepodge Homestead, I'm going to be making simple salsa. What we did with our tomatoes from the garden this year is we basically cored them out and we froze them. They came so sporadically this year, and we were so ahead of ourselves on tomatoes anyway, that I didn't really feel like I needed to can them, one batch at a time. So we froze them in 1 gallon Ziploc baggies. Like I said, we took the core out. And today I thawed them out yesterday, and today I'm basically just taking the skins out, and it's very simple. It's way easier than boiling them and getting the skins off when you go to use them fresh. So I've gotten that started, and over here on the stove, I've got 6 pints. Is it 6 pints? 6 or 7 pints in there, getting boiled, getting sanitized. And then right here, I've got 1 bag of tomatoes, and I'm just taking the skins off, throwing the skins in this bowl. Those skins go to the chickens. And then the meat of the tomato is going right into here. So I will get this camera set up and show you what I'm doing there, and then we'll go on further. Yeah, so basically all I do, I take the skin, I squeeze all that good luscious tomato meat out of there. And the juice and all that, that's just gonna add flavor for my salsa. Might get a few skins into my salsa, but that's all right. If it was just me eating it, I wouldn't even care. They smell like I just picked them. I wonder if you could do this with peppers, if peppers would skin this easy. I might have to try that. Might have to try that this summer for sure. All right, I'm gonna throw all that tomato juice right down in there. There's 1 bag. All right, when I get done doing this, I'll show you guys the end product, what we got going, and then we'll continue the instructional portion of this video for you, all right? All right, guys, I didn't have enough tomatoes that were frozen, and rather than waiting another 2 or 3 hours for another few bags of tomatoes to thaw, I just went down, I got some of my canned tomatoes. They're whole, not stewed or anything like that. They're just, canned up tomatoes. They're basically just like the ones I froze, except they have been processed. So I did 2 quarts of those. That should give me enough. Now, the reason I'm calling this easy salsa is because if any of you guys, I don't know where else they sell this stuff, but I know that they do sell it at Walmart, and they sell it right in the canning section, along with can your own sweet pickles or your dill pickles or all that. And what it is it's Mrs. Wages salsa. It's got all the seasoning and everything in here, the spices and all that. All you need to do is add your tomatoes. And the joy about this is you can make it, eat it fresh, keep it in your fridge, or you can can it. And they basically have all the directions right on the back. You can water bath can this, which is, you water bath it anyway, but it tells you how to do it and everything right on the back of this package. So we're gonna go off this package, and again, always check your ball canning manuals because they will tell you the real way to do it, okay? So this calls for 6 pounds of fresh tomatoes, or 6 cans. So you could go buy canned whole tomatoes right off the shelf and make it with this. It says petite diced regular or low sodium tomatoes undrained. So you want that juice. 1.5 cup of distilled white vinegar and 1 pouch of Mrs. Wages. And it says that it will make 5 pints. I've got 6 pints in there, 6 or 7, maybe it might be 7. Just in case I have some overflow, and that overflow is what I'll eat tonight with some chips, okay? All right, so First thing it says is wash your tomatoes. We've already done all that. Then it says combine tomatoes. Oh, let's see. I need my eyes. Okay, let's see. Wash your fresh tomatoes. Dip in the cold water. That stops them from cooking. If you've not already done all this process here. I might be confusing you. I'm sorry if I am. Okay. If using canned tomatoes, do not drain the liquid. Okay, combine tomatoes and Mrs. Wages and white distilled vinegar, medium salsa in a large non-reactive saucepan. Do not use aluminum. Bring mixture to a boil, stir occasionally, reduce heat, and simmer for 10 minutes. At that point, your salsa is ready. You could take it out, let it cool, freeze it, or at that point, we're gonna put it into hot jars and we're gonna water bath ours. Let's see, it says here to water bath them for 40 minutes. I'll go over all that, but that's how simple this is gonna be, okay? So I'm gonna take our pot here, I'm gonna get it over on the stove, I'm gonna add this packet, and once I get over there, I'll show you how I'm doing all that, okay? Okay. Okay, got it over here on the stove. I'll get it lit up here. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Put that down on a medium heat. I've got my half a cup of white distilled vinegar. Okay, and again, what I do with my glasses, here they are. Okay, combined tomatoes, Mrs. Wages, white distilled vinegar, and medium. You don't need to use Mrs. Wages white distilled vinegar. Any white distilled vinegar will be fine. Bring mixture to a boil, stir occasionally, reduce heat, and simmer for 10 minutes. All right, let's pour this salsa mixture in. It smells so good. This just reminds me of fall and harvest. Oh, you know, it's January 4th. And I just can't believe that I'm already looking forward and excited to gardening. You know, it's just such an awesome progression out in the garden, watching everything happen. Love it, absolutely love it. Okay, so today's January 4th. I'm only saying this because I have a story for it. Yesterday was my birthday, January 3rd. I turned 58. Today is Lisa Sutton's birthday. Now granted, this video will be out I think on Sunday, so this is January 4th, Lisa Sutton's birthday, so make sure all of you guys wish her a happy birthday. Because remember, this Canuary that we're doing is sponsored by Lisa Sutton at Sutton's Days. All right, I'm gonna get the lid, and I'm gonna let this start going. And when it comes up to a simmer, as it says, or it comes up to a boil, we'll reduce it a few times, and we'll go ahead and let it go for 10 minutes. Like I said, my jars are ready to go. So I'm gonna gather some of my equipment around, my jar lifter, and we'll get our seals ready to go. And I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay guys, it's come up to a boil. So I'm gonna lower heat down to low. And I'm just gonna let this simmer for 10 minutes. And when 10 minutes, excuse me, when 10 minutes has elapsed, I'll be back with you, and we'll get this canned up, get the canning process started. All right, guys, so it's come to a boil, or it's come to a boil, and I let it simmer for 10 minutes. So I'm going to bring this over to another workstation. Grab some hot pot holders here. I'm going to take this off. Alright, I'm going to take these jars and bring them over here. Remember, these jars have been boiling for about an hour. They're good and hot. I don't know if I'll have enough salsa to fill up 7, but I always do 1 or 2 extra jars no matter what the recipe says, because you just never know, you know, how thick anything's going to be, or, you know, all of the complete end result. So put this lid back on there to keep that heat in there, and I'll move you guys over here. All right, so got our jars, got our salsa, so we're going to scoop it right in. Hot salsa, hot jars, and you want to leave 1/2 inch of headspace on these. So I'll be right about there. Go a little bit more in that one. Perfect. Guys, this stuff here is super simple. At my local Walmart, now I live in Michigan, and my local Walmart still has this in the canning section. Sometimes it's kind of seasonal, it goes out, but they still have it. Years ago, my neighbors, we would get together, have a Bible study here and there, and they always had great salsa. And I said, man, your salsa is just so wonderful. How do you make it? I want your recipe. Well, this is what she did. She made Mrs. Wages, and for a long time I made it. And then, you know, as I got more into gardening and growing my own, you know, peppers and all that kind of stuff, and onions, I just started doing my own. And you figure out what seasonings you like and you add to it. And eventually you get your taste and your preferred method and way of doing it. And you go for it. Like I said, this is a simple, easy way to do it. You can go and buy whole tomatoes at the store, canned. All you gotta do is open the can, put them in your jar, and add your vinegar and add your Mrs. Wage packet, and you're making salsa. And within, you know, a couple hours, you're eating it. Now this stuff here is also really good to put on like tacos or enchiladas. It's even better on scrambled eggs in the morning. You know, I've probably got half a jar left in there. So I think what I'll do is I'll just put that in the refrigerator rather than, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna run a canner for just this little bit of time. Okay, let me get a paper towel here. And I'm gonna dunk it in the vinegar here and make sure these lids are wiped clean. All right, there we have it. I like to do these all at once. That way you don't miss a step. You don't think you did it and you didn't. I mean, you're obviously going to know when you go to put a ring on that you don't have your lid on. So you want to put these on finger tight is all. Ooh, these jars got hot fast. Whew, mercy. Get them started. Tell you what, this puts some nice humidity in the house today. We heat with wood, and this time of year, it gets pretty dry. I've got cast iron teapots on both of my stoves. I've got 2 on each stove. And I tell you what, it's a battle keeping them filled all day long. I've never had 2 wood stoves going at once during winter. And that's quite a chore keeping that going. I mean, you think it isn't, but when you're keeping your house warm with them, you gotta make sure you're rolling. All right, I'm gonna bring it back over here to the stove. Move my teapot. I'm gonna move this back over the center run here. Put that in there. And what I'm going to do is put a couple jugs of white vinegar. Oh, I already put it away. I'm gonna put a couple jugs of white vinegar in there. Not jugs, glugs, like glug glug. And what that does is that will keep the hard water, we live on a well, that'll keep the hard water from making your jars white. I mean, you can just wipe them off later, but it keeps you from having to do that. All right. Down they go. Let's get my vinegar. Get it all. All right. Glug, glug. There we go. 2 little pours like that. Okay, now, remember, I told you the back of this packet gives you great instructions. This book gives you the instructions, okay? We've got several other canning books that we use, but this is the go-to. And I've done salsa dozens of times in my life, and I refer to this every single time. So what it says, and once again, I misplaced my glasses. There they are. I've got 3 pair of glasses that I keep in this room. I keep 1 pair over by my stereo all the time, so when I'm looking for an album, I can find it. And it just goes from there. Okay, combine all the ingredients. We did that. We filled the jars with the ladle. We cleaned the jar rim. We centered the lid on the jar, and we adjusted the band to fingertip tight. We're going to place the jar on a rack elevated over simmering water, 180 degrees. In boiling water, canner. Repeat until all jars are filled. Okay, so we've done that. Now I'm going to lower the rack in the water, which I did. Water must cover your jars by at least 1 inch. Adjust heat to medium-high. Cover canner and bring water to a rolling boil. Process pint jars, which we have, for 15 minutes. Turn off heat and remove cover. We're going to let the jars cool for 5 minutes, remove jars from canner. We will not retighten bands if they're loose. We'll cool for 12 hours. Test the seals, label them, and store them. All right? So, we're going to turn the burner on. We're going to cover it. We're going to let it come to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, we're going to process for 15 minutes. There you have it. When this is done, I'll come back to you, show you what we got. It's gonna be good. All right guys, so it's been boiling for 15 minutes now. I'm gonna shut the burner right off. I'm gonna let these sit for 15 more minutes. Let them cool down a little bit, and then we'll pull them out. And then we're gonna sample what was left and let these things rest for later on tonight. And then we'll be good to go. So I'll be back with you in about 15 minutes. All right, it's been 15 minutes. Isn't that fast? I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out and put them on my drying rack right here, or my cooling rack, I should say. I tell you what, guys, if you ever go out and about and you're going to flea markets or antique dealers and stuff like that, you see these right here. These are probably from 60s or 70s, I don't know. But they are so much better than the ones you can buy brand new. There's no plastic on here, wooden handles. These are, you know, they've got rubber coated on the ends. They're still, I mean, other than a little bit of, I don't know what you'd call it, built up on the metal, you know, they're still freaking awesome. It's called earth grown. So, I mean, it probably cost me $2 or something like that. I've got several pair of them down there in the canning or the pantry, and I just love using this old stuff over the new cheap crap you buy. So look for them. Spend $2 or $3, it'll be worth it. Oh, had a pop. You know, I've been canning for 20 years, and that pop is still exciting. Oh, there's another one. See, it's a reaction. I don't do it on purpose. I have to adjust these just a little bit. And what you want to do when you do this, you don't want to disturb these jars for a while. Just let them sit there, let them get that real super good seal. Don't worry about the rings. If they seem loose, the rings are okay. And you won't be able to see it from there, but like right now there's water built up on the top of this jar. Don't tip it over to get that water off. That water will go away on its own. It already did. All right, so there's seven pints of salsa. What did that take us? Real time? Probably, with preparation, getting everything, getting my water up to boil and all that, probably an hour and a half, maybe. I don't even think it took that long. All right, now for the true test. I've got a salsa chip. It is 10:50 in the morning. This was what was left over in the pot, remember? It's fully cooked. It's fully safe. Tomatoes from this fall's garden, last fall's garden actually, and tomatoes that I had canned in 2014. I'm gonna have to try another one. Little chunky chip here. A nice big old chunk of tomato. Look at that. Is it last year's tomato or 2014's tomato? Doesn't matter. It's so good. This was a mild, medium packet of the Mrs. Wages. And my family doesn't like spice. I appreciate heat. I like hot. My family's pretty mellow when it comes to the spice side. This isn't that bad that they can't handle it. They eat a lot of it. So they're bubbling away. They're gonna cool off. I'll put them down in the pantry later on today. Probably tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow morning. And we'll go from there. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, press that like button, share it with your friends. If you're not subscribed to us, please subscribe to us. Leave a comment, because if you leave a comment on every video, you know what happens. Could be a prize at the end. So, go to Sutton's Days, watch your video, watch all the other videos as they come out in the month of January. And you know, like we always say here at the Hodgepodge Homestead, we love canning salsa, fresh out of a bag and fresh out of the garden. And you should too. We'll see you guys later. Happy New Year.